Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Darati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapatakamalам Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bando Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवारि पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनारित्यन्दस्तो भद्राणि विदुनुति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भागवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhu, are you on computer?
Yes.
Can you do the scrolling?
Yeah.
Prabhu, okay. Because I will wash the potato at the same time.
Sure. Can you give me the access?
Yes, Prabhu, did it come?
Am I scrolling down? Yeah, I have the access now. Okay. Shall I start reading the 31st verse?
Yes, Prabhu. Whenever I unmute myself, I have to move the mouse. So if it happens, then I'm trying to unmute myself.
No need. If I will scroll down because I have access now.
Yes, Prabhu. But you know that if the mouse moves, then I'm trying to unmute myself.
Sure.
Oh, Pranjal Prabhu joined also. Hare Krishna. And Gauranga Prabhu and Himadri Prabhu also done that. Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. Welcome to reading session. So we're reading Bhagavatam today, was it 9 chapter?
9, yes.
291.
Yeah. Okay. What happened? Text 31. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnanam Param Guhyam Me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tad Angam Cha Grihana Gatitam Maya. Synonyms. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The personality of Godhead said, Jnanam, knowledge acquired, Param, extremely, Guhyam, confidential, May, of mine, Yat, which is, Vijnana, realization, Samanvitam, coordinated, sarhasyam with devotional service, tat of that angam cha necessary paraphernalia, grihana, just try to take up gatitam explained maya by me. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me as described in the scriptures is very confidential and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Purport. Lord Brahma is the topmost devotee of the Lord within the universe, and therefore the personality of Godhead replied to his four principal inquiries in four important statements, which are known as the original Bhagavatam in four verses. These were Brahma's questions. What are the forms of the Lord, both in matter and transcendence? How are the different energies of the Lord working? How does the Lord play with his different energies? How may Brahma be instructed to discharge a duty entrusted with him? The prelude to the answers in this verse under discussion, wherein the Lord informs Brahma that knowledge of him, the supreme absolute truth, and as it is stated in the revealed scriptures, is very subtle and cannot be understood unless one is self-realized by the grace of the Lord. The Lord says that Brahma may take the answers as he explains them. This means the transcendental knowledge of the absolute supreme being can be known if it is made known by the Lord himself. By the mental speculation of the greatest mundane thinkers, the absolute truth cannot be understood. The mental speculators can reach up to the standard of impersonal Brahman realization, but factually, complete knowledge of the transcendence is beyond the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Thus, it is called confidential wisdom. Out of many liberated souls, someone may be qualified to know the personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said by the Lord Himself that out of many hundreds of thousands of people, one may try for perfection in the human life, and out of many liberated souls, one may know him as he is. Therefore, the knowledge of the personality of Godhead may be attained by devotional service only. Rahasyam means devotional service. Lord Krishna instructed Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita because he found Arjuna to be a devotee and friend. Without such qualifications, no one can enter into the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, one cannot understand the personality of Godhead unless one becomes a devotee and discharges devotional service. This mystery is love of Godhead. Therein lies the main qualification for knowing the mystery of the personality of Godhead. And to attain the stage of transcendental love of Godhead, regulative principles of devotional service must be followed. The regulative principles are called Vidhi Bhakti, Vidhi Bhakti, or devotional service of the Lord, and they can be practiced by a neophyte with his present senses. Such regulative principles are mainly based on hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord. And such hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord can be made possible in the association of devotees only. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended five main principles for attaining perfection in the devotional service of the Lord. The first is association of devotees hearing, second is chanting the glories of the Lord, third, hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the pure devotee, fourth, residing in a holy place connected with the Lord, and fifth, worshipping the deity of the Lord with devotion. Such rules and regulations are parts of devotional service. So, as requested by Lord Brahma, the personality of Godhead will explain all about the four questions put forward by Brahma and others also, which are parts and parcels of the same questions. Text 32. यावान अहम यथा भावो यद्रूप गुण कर्मकः तथैव तत्व विज्ञानम अस्तु ते मद अनुग्रहात्. Synonyms. Yavan, as I am in eternal form, aham, myself, yatha, as much as, bhavaha, transcendental existence, Yet those rupa, various forms and colors, guna, qualities, karmakaha, activities, tatha, so and so, eva, certainly, tattva vijnanam, factual realization, astu, let it be unto me, te unto you, mat, mine, anugrahat, by causeless mercy. Translation. All of me, namely my actual eternal form, my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual relation out of my causeless mercy. Purport. The secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Even in the material world, the father of many sons discloses the secret of his position to the pet sons. The father discloses the confidence upon the son whom he thinks worthy. An important man in the social order can be known by his mercy only. Similarly, one must be very dear to the Lord in order to know the Lord. The Lord is unlimited. No one can know him completely. But once advancement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord can make one eligible to know the Lord. Here we can see that the Lord is sufficiently pleased with Brahmaji, and therefore he offers his causeless mercy to him so that Brahmaji may have the factual realization of the Lord by his mercy only. In the Vedas also it is said that a person cannot know the absolute truth, personality of Godhead simply by dint of mundane education or intellectual gymnastics. One can know the supreme truth if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master as well as in the Lord. Such a faithful person, even though illiterate in the mundane sense, can know the Lord automatically by the mercy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita also it is said that the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone, and he keeps himself concealed from the faithless by his Yogamaya potency. To the faithful, the Lord reveals himself in his form, quality, and pastimes. The Lord is not formless, as it is wrongly conceived by the impersonalist, but his form is not like one that we have experienced. The Lord discloses his form even to the extent of measurement to his pure devotees, and that is the meaning of Yavan, as is explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, the greatest scholar of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The Lord discloses his transcendental nature of existence. The mundane wranglers make mundane conceptions of the form of the Lord. It is said in the revealed scriptures that the Lord has no mundane form. Therefore, persons with a poor fund of knowledge conclude that he must be formless. They cannot distinguish between the mundane form and the spiritual form. According to them, without a mundane form, one must be formless. This conclusion is also mundane because formlessness is the opposite conception of form. Negation of the mundane conception does not establish a transcendental fact. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord has a transcendental form and that he can utilize any one of his senses for any purpose. For example, he can eat with his eyes and he can see with his legs. In the mundane conception of form, no one can eat with one's eyes nor see with his leg. That is the difference between the mundane body and the spiritual body of Sachidananda. Spiritual body does not mean formless, but a different type of body which cannot conceive with our present mundane senses. Formless, therefore, means devoid of mundane form or possessing a spiritual body of which the non devotee can have no conception by the speculative method. The Lord discloses to the devotee his unlimited varieties of transcendental bodies, all identical with one another with different kinds of bodily features. Some of the transcendental bodies of the Lord are blackish and some of them are whitish. Some of them are reddish and some of them are yellowish. Some of them are four-handed and some of them are two-handed. Some of them are like the fish and some of them are like the lion. And all these different transcendental bodies of the Lord without any differential category are disclosed to the devotees of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord, and thus the impersonalists' false arguments claiming the formlessness of the Supreme truth do not appeal to a devotee of the Lord, even though such a devotee may not be very advanced in devotional service. The Lord has unlimited numbers of transcendental qualities, and one of them is his affection for his unalloyed devotee. In the history of the mundane world, we can appreciate his transcendental qualities. The Lord incarnates himself for the protection of his devotees and for the annihilation of the faithless. His activities are in relationship with his devotees, and the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is full of such activities of the Lord in relationship with his devotees, and non-devotees have no knowledge of such pastimes. The Lord lifted the Govardhana hill when he was only 7 years old and protected his pure devotees at Vrindavana from the wrath of Indra, who was overflooding the place with rain. Now, this lifting of the Govardhana hill by a 7-year-old boy may be unbelievable for the faithless, but for the devotees, it is absolutely believable. The devotee believes in the almighty potency of the Lord, while the faithless say that the Lord is almighty but do not believe it. Such men with a poor fund of knowledge do not know that the Lord is the Lord eternally, and that one cannot become the Lord by meditation for millions of years, nor by mental speculation for billions of years. The impersonal interpretation of the mundane wranglers is completely refuted in this verse, because it is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord has his qualities, form, pastimes, and everything that a person has. All these descriptions of the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead are factual realizations by the devotee of the Lord. And by the causeless mercy of the Lord, they become revealed to his pure devotee and to no one else. Text 33. Aham evasam एवाग्रे नान्यद् यत् सदसद् परं पश्चाद् अहं यद् एतच्च यो वैश्येत योऽस्म्यहम् अहं synonyms aham I, the personality of Godhead, eva certainly, asam existed, eva only, agre before the creation, na never, anyat anything else, yet all those, sat the effect, asat the cause, param the supreme, paschat at the end, aham I, the personality of Godhead, yet all these, etat creation, cha also, yaha everything, avashishyeta remains, saha that, asmi I am, aham I, the personality of Godhead. Translation: Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Purport: we should note very carefully that the personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis himself, pointing out that it is he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation. It is he only who maintains the creation, and it is he only who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Brahma is also a creation of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist puts forth the theory of oneness in the sense that Brahma, also being the same principle of I, because he is an emanation from the I, the absolute truth, is identical with the Lord, the principle of I, and thus there is nothing more than the principle of I, as explained in this verse. Accepting the argument of the impersonalist, it is to be admitted that the Lord is the creator I and the Brahma is the created I. Therefore, there is a difference between the two I's, namely the predominator I and the predominated I. Therefore, there are still two I's, even accepting the argument of the impersonalists. But we must note carefully that these two I's are accepted in the Vedic literature Kathopanishad in the sense of quality. The Kathopanishad says Nityo Nitya nityanam chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Kathovanis 2:13. The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one because both of them are Nityas and Chetanas. But the singular I is the creator I, and the created I's are of plural number because they are mainly I's like Brahma and those generated by Brahma. It is the simple truth. The father creates or begets a son, and the son also creates many other sons, and all of them may be one as human beings. But at the same time, from the father, the son and the grandsons are all different. The son cannot take the place of the father, nor can the grandsons. Simultaneously, the father, the son, and the grandson are one and different also. As human beings, they are one, but as relativities, they are different. Therefore, the relativities of the creator and the created, or the predominator and the predominated, have been differentiated in the Vedas by saying that the predominator I is the feeder of the predominated eyes, and thus there is a vast difference between the two eyes of I, two principles of I. In another feature of this verse, no one can deny the personalities of both the Lord and the Brahma. Therefore, in the ultimate issue, both the predominator and the predominated are persons. This conclusion refutes the conclusion of the impersonalists that in the ultimate issue, everything is impersonal. The impersonal feature stressed by the less intelligent impersonalist school is refuted by pointing out that the predominator I is the absolute truth and he is a person. The predominated I, Brahma, is also a person, but he is not the absolute. For realization of one's self in spiritual psychology, it may be convenient to assume oneself as the same principle as the absolute truth. But there is always the difference of the predominated and the predominator, as is clearly pointed out here in this verse, which is grossly misused by the impersonalists. Brahma is factually seeing eye to eye his predominator Lord, who, in his transcendental eternal form, exists even after the annihilation of the material creation. The form of the Lord, as seen by Brahma, existed before the creation of Brahma, and the material manifestation with all ingredients and agents of material creation are also energetic expansions of the Lord. And after closing the exhibited energy of the Lord, what remains is the same personality of Godhead. Therefore, the form of the Lord exists in all circumstances of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation. The Vedic hymns confirm this fact in the statement Vasudeva va idam agra asin na Brahma na cha Shankaraha eko vai Narayana asin na Brahma na Isha no, etc. Before the creation, there was none except Vasudeva. There was neither Brahma nor Shankara. Only Narayana was there and no one else. Either Brahma or either Brahma, neither Brahma nor Ishana. Sripada Shankaracharya also confirms in his comments on the Bhagavad Gita that Narayana or the personality of Godhead is transcendental to all creation, but the whole creation is the product of Avyakta. Therefore, the difference between the created and the creator is always there, although both the created and created are of the same quality. The other feature of the statement is that the supreme truth is Bhagavan or the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead and his kingdom have already been explained. The kingdom of Godhead is not void as conceived by the impersonalists. The Vaikuntha planets are full of transcendental variegatedness, including the four-handed residents of those planets, and with great opulence of wealth and prosperity, and there are even airplanes and other amenities required for high-grade personalities. Therefore, the personality of Godhead exists before the creation, and he exists with all transcendental variegatedness in the Vaikuntha Lokas. The Vaikuntha Lokas, also accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as being of the Sanatana nature, are not annihilated even after the annihilation of the manifested cosmos. Those transcendental planets are of a different nature altogether, and that nature is not subjected to the rules and regulations of material creation, maintenance, and annihilation. The existence of the personality of Godhead implies the existence of the Vaikuntha Lokas, as the existence of a king implies the existence of a kingdom. In various places of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and in other revealed scriptures, the existence of the personality of Godhead is mentioned. For example, Maharaj Parikshit asks, Sachapi yatra purusho vishvastitvi udbhavapyayah mukta muktavatam mayam mayesha shete sarva gunasayah. How does the personality of Godhead, the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, who is always freed from the influence of the illusionary energy and is the controller of the same, lie in everyone's heart? Similar also is a question of Viduras. Tatvanam Bhagavams Tesham Katidha Pratishankramah Tatre Mam Ka Upasiran Ka Ushvid Anushrerata. Anushrerata. Sridhara Swami explains this in his notes. During the annihilation of the creation, who serves the Lord lying on the Sesha, etc. This means the transcendental Lord, with all his name, fame, quality, and paraphernalia, exists eternally. The same confirmation is also in the Kashi Kanda in the connection with Dhruva Charita. It is said there, na chavantepi yad bhakta mahatyam pralayapadi ato अच्युतो खिले लोके स एकः सर्वगो अव्ययः अव्ययः. Even the devotees of the personality of Godhead are not annihilated during the period of the entire annihilation of the material world, not to speak of the Lord himself. The Lord is ever existent in all three stages of material change. The impersonalist adduces no activity in the Supreme, but in this discussion between Brahma and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is said to have activities also, as he has his form and quality. The activities of Brahma and other demigods during the time and maintenance of the creation are to be understood as the activities of the Lord. The king or the head executive of a state may not be seen in the government offices, for he may be engaged in royal comforts. Yet it should be understood that everything is being done under his direction and everything is at his command. The personality of Godhead is never formless. He may not be visible in his personal form in the material world to the less intelligent class of men, and therefore he may be sometimes called formless. But actually, he is always in his eternal form in his Vaikuntha planets as well as in other planets of the universes as different incarnations. The example of the sun is very appropriate in this connection. The sun in the night may not be visible to the eyes of men in the darkness, but the sun is visible wherever it has risen. Because the sun is not visible to the eyes of the inhabitants of a particular part of the world does not mean that the sun has no form. In the Aitreya Upanishad, there is the hymn Atmaivedam Agra Asit Purusha Vidaha. This mantra indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, even before the appearance of the Purusha incarnation. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said 15:18 that the Lord Krishna is a Purushottama because he is the Supreme Purusha, transcendental even to the Purusha Akshara and the Purusha Kshara. The Akshara Purusha or the Mahavishnu throws his glance over Prakriti or material nature But the existence of the Purushottama was there even before that. The Aitreya Upanishad therefore confirms the statement of the Bhagavad Gita that Lord Krishna is the supreme person Purushottama. In some of the Vedas, it is also said that in the beginning only the impersonal Brahman was there. But according to this verse, the impersonal Brahman, which is the glowing effulgence of the body of the Supreme Lord, may be called the immediate cause, but the cause of all causes or the remote cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord's impersonal feature is existent in the material world because by material senses or material eyes, the Lord cannot be seen or perceived. One has to spiritualize the senses before one can expect to see or perceive the Supreme Lord. But he is always engaged in his personal capacity and he is eternally visible to the inhabitants of Vaikuntaloka eye to eye. Therefore, he is materially impersonal, just as the executive head of the state may be impersonal in the government offices, although he is not impersonal in the government house. Similarly, the Lord is not impersonal in his abode, which is always nirasta kuhkam, kuhakam, nirasta kuhakam, as is stated in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam. Therefore, both the impersonal and personal features of the Lord are acceptable as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. This personality of Godhead is very emphatically explained in the Bhagavad Gita in connection with the verse Brahmano hi pratishtaham. Bhagavad Gita 14:27. Therefore, in all ways, the confidential part of spiritual knowledge is the realization of the personality of Godhead and not his impersonal Brahman feature. One should therefore have his ultimate aim of realization not in the impersonal feature, but in the personal feature of the absolute truth. The example of sky within the pot and the sky without the pot may be helpful to the student for his realization of the all pervading quality of the cosmic consciousness of the absolute truth. But that does not mean that the individual part and parcel of the Lord becomes the supreme by a false claim. It means only that the conditioned soul is a victim of the illusionary energy in her last snare. To claim to become one with the cosmic consciousness of the Lord is the last trap set by the illusionary energy or Daivi Maya. Even in the impersonal existence of the Lord as it is in the material creation, one should be after the spirit personal relation of the Lord, and that is the meaning of paschad aham yad etacha yo avashishyeta, so
Hare Krishna, bro.
asmi
Can
aham.
you go little slow, bro,
Sure,
please?
bro. Sure. Brahmaji also accepted the same truth when he was instructing Narada. He said, Soyam te अभिहिस्तस् ताता भगवान विश्व भायनः. Bhagavatam 2.7.50. There is no other cause of all causes than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. And therefore, this verse, Aham Eva, never indicates anything other than the Supreme Lord. And one should therefore follow the path of Brahma Sampradaya or the path of Brahmaji to Narada, to Vyasa, etc., and make it a point in life to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari or Lord Krishna. This very confidential instruction to the pure devotees of the Lord was also given to Arjuna and to Brahma in the beginning of the creation. The devotees like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Indra, Chandra, Varuna are undoubtedly different forms of the Lord for execution of different functions. The different elementary ingredients of material creation as well as the multifarious energies also may be of the same personality of Godhead, but the root of all of them is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and one should be attached to the root of everything rather than bewildered by the branches and leaves. That is the instruction given in this verse. Text 34. Yeah. There is, bro, you can read now.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandot Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Text 34. Rite ratam yat pratyeta na pratyeta chatmani tad vidyat atmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tattama. Synonyms. Rite, without. Artham, value. Yat, which. Pratyeta, appears to be. Na, does not. Pratyeta, appears to be. Cha, certainly. Atmani, in my relation. Tat, that. Vidyat, must you know. Atmana, mine. Mayam, illusory energy. Yatha, as much as. Abhasa, in reflection. Yatha, as it is. Tamaha, darkness. Translation. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Report. So intense verse. Like anything which is of which has no relation with Krishna, it has no reality.
Yes, Prabhu.
It's just illusion. Okay, purport.
But what is that which has no relation with the Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu. I think it's like direct relation.
Right. Yeah. It is a valid point. Yeah. If there is no direct relation with the Lord,
Yeah.
then it has no value at all. Otherwise, even Maya has some kind of relation with the Lord
Yes, Prabhu.
because it is his external potency.
Yeah, if we value anything without relating it to Krishna, then it is illusion. I
Yes,
think
Prabhu.
if we read the first statement, yeah, if we value it without relating it to Krishna, like enjoying it independently,
Yes,
then it is illusion. Purport. In the previous verse, it has already been concluded that in any stage of the cosmic manifestation, namely its appearance, its sustenance, its growth, its interaction of different energies, its deterioration, and its disappearance, all has its basic relation with the existence of the personality of Godhead. And as such, whenever there is forgetfulness of this prime relation with the Lord and things are accepted as real without being related with the Lord, that conception is called the product of the illusory energy of the Lord. Because nothing can is that because nothing can exist without the Lord. It should be known that the illusory energy is also an energy of the Lord. The right conclusion of dovetailing everything in relationship with the Lord is called Yogamaya, or the energy of union, and the wrong conception of detaching a thing from its relationship with the Lord is called Daivi Maya, or Mahamaya of the Lord. Both the Mayas also have connection with the Lord because nothing can exist without being related with Him. As such, the wrong conception of detaching relationships from the Lord is not false, but illusory. Misconceiving one thing from another thing is called illusion. The example of accepting the rope as a snake is illusion, but it is not false. The rope as it exists in the form of the illusion person is not at all false, but the acceptance is illusory. Therefore, the wrong conception of accepting this material manifestation as being divorced from the energy of the Lord is illusion, but it is not false. Yeah, so many people say Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So this Jagat Mithya, this is material. This it has no relationship with Brahman. So it is
Yes,
not
Prabhu.
correct. Mayavad philosophy. So it is
Even my
false.
even my sister's child started to say like this, and he puts it on his Instagram, captions and everything. He puts things like this, that universe doesn't
Uh,
remember anything. You can mold your own future and things like this.
uh,
It's so funny.
okay. Yeah. So this is Shankaracharya philosophy.
No, in
Yes,
fact,
Not
Prabhu, Swami Prabhu,
yes, Prabhu.
whatever he says is 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 correct to some extent, because see, in the statement, the Shankaracharya statement, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, it is not meant that there is no universe at all, there is no material creation at all. Okay, if he had said that Brahma Satyam Jagan Nasti, then it would have meant that there was no universe at all. But he confirms that the universe exists. That means this material exists. But the real meaning of that mithya is whatever you think at this present moment may not exist in the next moment. Okay, the whole uh, conception or the whole feature of that thought may change. So that's why it is called as midya. It's not that nasty. It does not mean that it does not exist at all. The universe does not exist at all.
Yes, Prabhu. But the conclusion from this is that one can do anything because there is no rules or anything set. Nature doesn't have any, even the natural or scientific laws, they are not real. They can change at any time. You can change the gravity by your mind. You can change if you are strong enough, you can do anything with your mind. This is like how many of them think that everything is not real since it's part of your own mind and you can mold everything around you with your own mind. But
Yeah.
yes, Prabhu.
That is absolutely incorrect. But what Shankaracharya was trying to convey in that statement was totally misunderstood by most of these Mayavadi philosophers.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, there is. Seems like most of the Mayavadis have their own conception. They always differ from each other, like the philosophers also.
I think in one of the purport, Prabhupada completely dismantled this Mayavad philosophy. One complete purport is there. I don't remember that.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, you should
Mayavadi
quote it.
Bhashya Sune Hoy Sarvash in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Sorry, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that purport is.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, I will continue then. Therefore, the wrong conception of accepting this material manifestation as being diverse from the energy of the Lord is illusion, but it is not false. And this illusory conception is called the reflection of the reality in the darkness of ignorance. Anything that appears as apparently not being produced out of my energy is called Maya. The conception that the living entity is formless or that this Supreme Lord is formless is also illusion. In the Bhagavad Gita 2:12, it is said that by the Lord in the midst of the battlefield that the warriors who were standing in front of Arjuna, Arjuna himself and even the Lord were all existing before. They were existing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and they would all continue to be individual personalities in the future also. Even after the annihilation of the present body and even after being liberated from the bondage of material existence. In all circumstances, the Lord and the living entities are individual personalities, and the personal feature of both the Lord and the living being are never abolished. Only the influence of the illusory energy, the reflection of light in the darkness, can by the mercy of the Lord be removed. In the material world, the light of the sun is also not independent, nor is that of the moon. The real source of light is Brahmajyoti, which diffuses light from the transcendental body of the Lord. And the same light is reflected in varieties of light: the light of the sun, the light of the moon, the light of the fire, or the light of the electricity. So, the identity of self as being unconnected with the Supreme Self, the Lord, is also illusion. And the false claim that I am the Supreme is also the last illusory snare of the same Maya, or the external energy of the Lord. The Vedanta Sutra, in the very beginning, affirms that everything is born from the Supreme, and thus, as explained in the previous verse, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman, the first verse of Vedanta Sutra, I think. And thus, as explained in the previous verse, all the individual being entities are born from the energy of the Supreme Living Being, the personality of Godhead, As Brahma himself was born from the energy of the Lord, and all other living entities are born from the energy of the Lord through the agency of Brahma, and none of them has any existence without being dovetailed with the Supreme Lord. The independence of the individual living entity is not real independence, but is just the reflection of the real independence existing in the Supreme Being, the Lord. The false claim of supreme independence by the conditioned soul is illusion, and this conclusion is admitted in this verse. Persons with a poor fund of knowledge become illusion, and therefore the so-called scientists, physiologists, empiric philosophers, etc., become dazzled by the glaring reflection of the sun, moon, electricity, etc., and deny the existence of the Supreme Lord, putting forward theories and different speculations about creation, maintenance, and annihilation of everything material. The medical practitioner may deny the existence of the soul in the physiological bodily construction of an individual person, but he cannot give life to the dead body. Even though all the mechanics of the body exist even after death, the physiologist makes a serious study of the physiological conditions of the brain, as if the construction of the cerebral lump is the machine of the functioning mind. But in the dead body, the physiologist cannot bring back the function of the mind. These scientific studies of the cosmic manifestation or that of the bodily construction, independent of the Supreme Lord, are different reflective intellectual gymnastics only. But at the end, they are all illusion and nothing more. All such advancement of science and knowledge in the present context of material civilization is the action of the covering influence of the illusory energy. The illusory energy has two phases of existence, namely the covering influence and the throwing influence. By the throwing influence of the living entities are thrown into the darkness of ignorance, and by the covering influence, she covers the eyes of men with a poor fund of knowledge about the existence of the Supreme Person who enlightens the supreme individual living being, Brahma. So it seems the Maya, this illusory energy, Mahamaya, it has two types, throwing influence and another one is covering influence. So by throwing influence, we get into ignorance, and by covering influence, we get don't get to know about the Supreme Personality of God.
Yes, Prabhu, where is?
I just read this. Right? The illusory energy has two phases of existence. Illusory energy. Up. Yeah.
Oh, here, yes, Prabhu.
No, up. The illusory energy has two phases of existence.
Oh, yeah, here.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. What is the names? It was Avaratmika Buddhi, and the other, I forgot the other one.
I don't know the Sanskrit.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 16:18 that demonic persons who denied the existence of the Lord are thrown more and more into the darkness of ignorance, and thus as such demonic persons transmigrate life after life without any knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sane man, however, is enlightened in the disciplic succession from Brahmaji, who was personally instructed by the Lord, or in the disciplic succession from Arjuna, who was personally instructed by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita. He accepts this statement of the Lord, Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Bhagavad Gita 10:8. The Lord is the original source of all emanations, and everything that is created, maintained, and annihilated exists by the energy of the Lord. The sane man who knows that the sane man who knows this is actually learned, and therefore he becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Although the reflectory energy of the Lord displays various illusions to the eyes of a person with a poor fund of knowledge, the sane person knows clearly that the Lord can act even from far beyond our vision. By his different energies, just as the fire can diffuse heat and light from a distant place, the in the medical science of the ancient sages known as the Ayurveda, there is definite acceptance of the Lord's supremacy in the following words: Jagad Jagadionir anichasya chidanandaikarupina pumsosti prak- pumsastir prakritirakrodh vishwam akhilamannitam vishwam akhilam annitam natakakritam. There is one supreme person who is the progenitor of this cosmic manifestation, whose energy acts as prakriti or the material nature, dazzling like the reflection. By such illusory action of the prakriti, even the dead matter is caused to move by the cooperation of the living and by the living energy of the Lord, and the material world appears like a dramatic performance to the ignorant eyes. The ignorant person, therefore, may even be a scientist or physiologist in the drama of Prakriti, while the sane person knows the Prakriti as the illusory energy of the Lord. By such a conclusion, and is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clear that the living entities are also a display of the superior energy, Para Prakriti of the Lord, just as the material world is a display of the inferior energy, Apara Prakriti of the Lord. The superior energy of the Lord cannot be as good as the Lord. Although there is very little difference between the energy and the possessor of the energy, or the fire and the heat. Fire is possessed of heat, but the heat is not fire. This simple thing is not understood by the man with a poor fund of knowledge who falsely claims that the fire and heat are the same. This energy of the fire, namely heat, is explained here as a reflection and not directly fire. Therefore, the living energy represented by the living entity is the reflection of the Lord and never the Lord himself. And as the reflection of the Lord, the existence of the living entity is dependent on the Supreme Lord, who is the original light. This material energy may be compared with darkness, as actually it is darkness, and the activities of the living entities in the darkness are reflections of the original light. The Lord should be understood by the context of this verse. Non dependence of both energies of the Lord is explained as Maya or illusion. No one can make a solution of the darkness of ignorance simply by the reflection of light. Similarly, no one can come out of the material existence simply by the reflected light of the common man, but one has to receive the light from the original light itself. The reflection of sunlight in the darkness is unable to drive out darkness, but the sunlight which is outside the reflection can drive out the darkness completely. In darkness, no one can see the things in a room. Therefore, a person in the dark is afraid of snakes and scorpions, although there may not be as such things. But in the light of the things in the room can be clearly seen, and the fear of snakes and scorpions is at once removed. Therefore, one has to take shelter of the light of the Lord, as in the Bhagavad Gita or the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and not the reflective personalities who have no touch with the Lord. No one should hear Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from a person who is a non-believer in the existence of the Lord. Such a person is already doomed, and any association with such a doomed person makes the association also doomed. According to the Padma Puran, within the material compass, there are innumerable material universes, and all of them are full of darkness. Any living being beginning from Brahmas, there are innumerable Brahmas also in the innumerable universes. To the insignificant ant are all born in darkness, and they require factual light from the Lord to see Him directly, just as the sun can be seen only by the direct light of the sun. No lamp or man made torchlight, however powerful it may be, can help one to see the sun. The sun reveals itself. Therefore, the action of different energies of the Lord or the personality of Godhead Himself can be realized by the light manifested by the causeless mercy of the Lord. So, let me complete this. The impersonalists say that God cannot be seen. God can be seen by the light of God and not by man-made speculators. Here it is simply mentioned as Vidyat, which is an order by the Lord to Brahma. This direct order of the Lord is manifestation of the internal energy, and this particular energy is the means of seeing the Lord eye to eye, not as Brahma, but anyone who may be graced by the Lord to see such merciful direct internal energy can also realize the personality of Godhead without any mental speculation. So actually one point I got here in that last para of 34th verse.
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry.
So in 34th verse, last purport para, it was said that just as we can't, like here in India, it is night time. So now I can't see the sun, even though like how much big torch or how much big light I come up with, so I can't see the sun. It's only because of the sun's energy, like because of sun's energy, I can see the sun. So similarly, we can't see the Lord directly, Lord Krishna directly. Only by Krishna's mercy, by Krishna's light, we can see Krishna. And what is Krishna's causeless mercy? So that line I can see. See, uh,
Yes.
the personality of Godhead Himself can be realized by the light manifested by the causeless mercy of the Lord. So only by the causeless mercy of the Lord can we see the Lord. And what is the causeless mercy of the Lord? It is a spiritual master. So only through the spiritual master we can reach Krishna. We can dare to, approach Krishna without the causeless mercy of the Lord. So spiritual master is the first causeless mercy.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
This is nice realization.
We in Guru Vandana we say like Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado. So Yasana Prasadat Nagati Kutopi. So only by the causeless mercy of spiritual master, Bhagavad Prasado, we can see like we can dare to approach Krishna. Without spiritual master, it's not at all possible. So one
Yes.
cannot directly go without causeless mercy. Text should be any other devotee wants to read? Maybe any are there 9 devotees?
Oh, there's
Rishikesh Prabhu, Vishnu Prabhu.
I take screenshot 1 second. Okay, wants to read, or will Dheeraj Prabhu continue?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances of
Hare
glories to
Krishna,
Srila
Dandava
Prabhupada.
Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhu.
Yata mahanti bhutani bhuteshu cha chasheyanu prabhishyat prabhishtani aprabhishtani tata teshu nateshvaya aham. Yatha, as it is, Mahanti, the universal, Bhutani, elements, Bhuteshu, Ucha, Avecheshu, in the minute and gigantic, Anu, after, Prabhishtani, entered, Aprabhishtani, not entered, Tatha, so much so, Teshu, in them, Na, not, Teshu, in them, Aham, myself. Translation: O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time, I am outside of everything. Purport: the great elements of material creation, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether, etc., and all enter into the body of all manifested entities, namely the seas, mountains, aquatics, plants, reptiles, birds, beasts, human beings, demigods, and everyone materially manifested. And at the same time, such elements are differently situated. In the developed stage of consciousness, the human being can study both psychological both psychological and physical science. But the basic principle of such sciences are nothing but the material elements and nothing more. The body of the human beings and the body of the mountain, as well as the body of the demigods, including Brahma, are all of the same ingredients, namely earth, water, etc. And at the same time, the elements are beyond the body. The elements were created first and therefore they entered into the bodily construction later on. But in both circumstances, they entered the cosmos as well as not entered. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his different energies, namely the internal and external, is within everything in the manifested cosmos, and at the same time, he is outside of everything, situated in the kingdom of God Vaikuntha. As described before, this is very nicely stated in the Brahma Samhita as follows. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhabi Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Goloka Eva Nivasati Akhilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the personality of Godhead Govinda, who, by expansion of his internal potency of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss, enjoys in his own expanded forms. Simultaneously, he enters into every atom of the creation. This expansion of his plenary parts is alone more definitely explained in the same Brahma Samhita as follows. Eko piyasau rachitayum jagat andakotim yachagatir asti jagatananda chaya yadananta antaha uh, अंधातरास्त परमाणु चयन चयांतरक्षतम गोविंदमादि पुरुषम तमहम भजामि. I worship the personality of God at Govinda, who, by one of his plenary portions, entered into the existence of every universe and every particle of the atoms, and thus manifest his infinite energy all over the material creation unlimitedly. The impersonalist can imagine or even perceive that the Supreme Brahman is thus all pervading, and therefore they conclude that there is no possibility of his personal form. Herein lies the mystery of his transcendental knowledge. The mystery is the transcendental love of Godhead, and one who is surcharged with such transcendental love of Godhead can see the personality of Godhead in every atom and every movable or immovable object without any difficulty. And at the same time, he can see the personality of Godhead in his abode of Goloka, enjoying eternal pastimes with his eternal associates, who are also expansions of his transcendental existence. The vision is the real This vision is the real mystery of spiritual knowledge. As it is stated by the Lord in the beginning, Sa rahasyam tad angam cha. This mystery is the most confidential part of the knowledge of the Supreme, and it is impossible to be discovered by the mental speculators by dint of intellectual gymnastics. The mystery can be revealed through the process recommended by Brahmaji in the Brahma Samhita as follows. Premangyana charita bhakta vilochenena santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya guna swarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Uh, I worship the original personality of Godhead Govinda when the pure devotees whose eyes are smeared with the ointment of love of Godhead always observes within their hearts. This Govinda, the original personality of Godhead, is Shama Sundara with all the transcendental qualities. Therefore, although he is present in every atom, the supreme personality of Godhead may not be visible to the dry speculators. Still, the mystery is unfolded before the eyes of the pure devotees because their eyes are anointed with love of Godhead. And this love of Godhead can be attained only by the practice of transcendental loving service of the Lord and nothing else. The vision of the devotees is not ordinary, it is purified by the process of devotional service. In other words, as the universal elements are both within and without, similar the Lord's name, form, qualities, pastimes, entourage, etc., as they are described in the revealed scriptures, or as they are being performed in the Vaikuntha Lokas, far, far beyond the material cosmic manifestation, are factually being televised in the heart of the devotee. The man with a poor fund of knowledge cannot understand, although by material science one can see things far away by means of television. Factually, the spiritual developed person is able to have the television of the kingdom of God always reflected within his heart. This is the mystery of knowledge of the personality of God. The Lord the Lord can award anyone and everyone liberation, mukti, from the bondage of material existence. Yet he rarely awards the privilege of love of Godhead, and as is confirmed by Narada, mukti dadati karchit sma na bhakti yogam. This transcendental devotional service of the Lord is so wonderful that the occupation keeps the deserving devotee always wrapped in the psychological activities without any deviation from the absolute touch. This, thus, love of Godhead developed in the heart of the devotee is a great mystery. It was previously told by Brahmaji to Narada that the desires of Brahmaji are never unfulfilled because he is always absorbed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, nor has he any desire in his heart uh, save and accept the transcendental service of the Lord. This is the beauty and mystery of the process of bhakti yoga. As the Lord's desire is infallible, as he is achutya, similarly, the desires of the devotees in the transcendental service of the Lord are also achutya, infallible. It is very difficult, however, for the layman to understand without knowledge of the mystery of devotional service, as it is very difficult to know the potency of touchstone. The touchstone is rarely found. A pure devotee of the Lord is also rarely to be seen, even amongst the millions of liberated souls. Katastvapi Mahamune. Out of all kind of perfections attained by the process of knowledge, yoga perfection in devotional service is the highest of all and the most mysterious also, even more mysterious than the 8 kinds of mystic perfection attained by the process of yogic performances. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord therefore advised Arjuna about this bhakti yoga. Sarva guhyattamam bhuya shanu me paramam vachaha. Just hear from me, attain, just hear from me again about the most confidential part of the instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita 18.64. The same was confirmed by Brahmaji to Narada in the following words: Idam Bhagavatam Nama Yaname Bhagavotitam Sangraho Yam Vibhutinam Tvam Etad Vipulikru Yataharau Bhagavati Nramam Bhaktir Bhavishyati. Brahmaji said to Narada, whatever I have spoken to you about Bhagavatam was explained to me by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am advising you to expand these topics nicely to the people, so that people may understand the mysterious Bhakti Yoga by transcendental loving service of the Lord. It is to be noted here that the mystery of Bhakti Yoga was disclosed to Brahmaji by the Lord himself, and the same was explained by Brahmaji to Narada, and Narada explained the same to Vyasa, and from Vyasa to Sukadeva Goswami, and the same knowledge is coming down in the unalloyed chain of disciplic succession. If one is fortunate enough to have received the knowledge in the transcendental disciplic succession, surely he may have the chance of understanding the mystery of the Lord and that of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the sound incarnation of the Lord. Text 36. एतावद् एव जिज्ञासं तत्त्व जिज्ञासु नात्मनः अन्वयव्यक्तिरेकाभ्यं यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. Etavat, up to this, eva, certainly, jigyasam, jigyasyam is to be required, tattva, absolute truth, jigyasuna, the student, atmana, of the self, anvya, directly, the student, atmanah, of the self, amvya, directly, vyatirekyam, directly, yat, whatever, syat, it may be, sarvatra, in all space and time, sarvada, in all circumstances. Translation. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, has to search it out up to this. Certainly, in all circumstances and in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. Purport. To unfold the mystery of Bhakti Yoga, as it is explained in the previous verse, is the ultimate stage of all inquiries, or the highest objective for inquisitive. Everyone is searching after self-realization in different ways, namely by Karma Yoga, by Jnana Yoga, by Dhyana Yoga, by Raja Yoga, or by Bhakti Yoga, etc. To encourage in self-realization is this responsibility of every living entity developed in consciousness. One who is developed in consciousness certainly makes enquiries into the mystery of the self, of the cosmic situation, and of the problems of life in all spheres and fields, namely social, political, economic, cultural, religious, moral, etc., and in their different branches. But here is explain the goal of all such inquiries. The Vedanta Sutra philosophy begins with the inquiry of life, and the Bhagavatam answers such inquiries up to the point or the mystery of all inquiries. Lord Brahma wanted to be perfectly educated by the personality of Godhead, and here is the answer by the Lord, finished in four nutshell verses, namely beginning from Aham Eva to the verse Etavat Eva. This is the end of all self-realization processes. Man do not know that the ultimate goal of life is Vishnu, or the supreme personality of Godhead, due to being bewildered by the glaring reflection of in the darkness, and such everyone is bewildered into the darkest region of material existence, driven by the uncontrolled senses. The whole material existence has sprung up by sense gratification, desires based principally on the sex desire, and the result is that in spite of all advancement of knowledge, the final goal of all activities of the living entity is sense gratification. But here is the real goal of life, and everyone should know it by inquiries put before a bona fide spiritual master, expert in the science of Bhakti Yoga, or from a living personality of Bhagavatam life. Everyone is engaged in various kinds of spiritual inquiries, but the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives answer to all of the various students of self-realization. The ultimate objective of life is not to be searched out without any uh, is not to be searched out without any great labor or perseverance. One who is imbucked with such sincere inquiries must ask the bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession from Brahmaji. And this is the direction given here, because the mystery was disclosed before Brahmaji by the supreme personality of Godhead. The mystery of such inquiries regarding self-realization must be put before such a spiritual master who is directly the representative of the Lord, acknowledged in the disciplic succession. Such a bona fide spiritual master is able to clear up the whole thing by evidences from revealed scriptures, both directly and indirectly. Although everyone is free to consult the revealed scriptures in this connection, still one requires the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and that is the direction in the verse. The bona fide spiritual master is the most confidential representative of the Lord, and one must receive direction from the spiritual master in the same spirit as Brahmaji received them from the personality of Godhead Lord Krishna. The bona fide spiritual master in the bona fide spiritual master in that bona fide chain of disciplic succession never claim to be the Lord himself, although such a spiritual master is greater than the Lord in the sense that he can deliver the Lord by his personally realized experience. The Lord is not to be found simply by education or by a good fertile brain, but surely he can be found by sincere students through the transparent medium of the bona fide spiritual master. The revealed scriptures give direction directly to this end, but because the bewildered living entities are blinded by the glaring reflection in the darkness, they are unable to find out the truth of the revealed scriptures. For example, the Bhagavad Gita, the whole direction is targeted towards the personality of Godhead Lord Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, but for want of a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic success, in the line of Brahmaji or the direct hearer Arjuna, there are different distortions of revealed knowledge by many unauthorized persons who just want to satisfy their own whims. Undoubtedly, the Bhagavad Gita is accepted as one of the most brilliant stars in the horizon of the spiritual sky. Yet the interpretations of the great book of knowledge have so grossly been distorted that every student of the Bhagavad Gita is still in the same darkness of glaring material reflection, and such students are hardly enlightened by the Bhagavad Gita. In the Gita, practically the same instruction is imparted as in the four prime verses of the Bhagavatam, but due to wrong and fashionable interpretations by unauthorized person, one cannot reach the ultimate conclusion. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.61, it is clearly said, Ishwaraha sarva bhutanam riddesha arjuna tisthati brahmanyam sarva bhutani yatra यंत्रारूढ़ानि मायया. Uh, Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu.
Someone, Prabhu, Dheeraj Prabhu wrote, this is a very long purport
yeah.
words. Can you do it tomorrow?
Yeah,
And then
even
Praveen Krishna,
it's late in
Yes,
India.
Prabhu.
I need to drop off now. Hare Krishna.
I was so about to check the purport before we started it, but then I thought it's short. Okay, we start the purport again tomorrow.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripasindhu vaibhaccha patitanam pavanyo vaishnavabhyo namaः.
Okay, Damodrashtakam. Who wants to start?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I start?
Yes, Prabhu.
Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Pachimanam Yashoda Viyokula Davamanam Manama Param Vishta Atyanto Tutya Gopya.
रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं मृजन्तं करम्बोजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्रं मुहुस्वासकम्पात्रिरेखाङ्ककान्ता स्थिता ग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिपादम्
इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दगुण्टे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यामयन्तं तदीयेषितागेषु भक्तिर्जिते त्वं पुनः प्रेमतस्तं शतावृत्तिबन्धे
वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षवदिं वा न चन्यं वृणेऽहं वरेषदपि हा इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्याविराशां किमन्ये
दन्ते मुगाम्बोजमत्यन्तनीलैर्धृतं कुण्डले स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्य मुहुश्चुम्बिदं बिम्बरक्ताधरं मे मनसि आविराष्टं नलं लक्षलाभे
नमो देव दामोदरानन्त विष्णो प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलाब्धिमग्नं कृपादृष्टिवृष्यान्ते दिनं बतानो गृहाणे क्षमामज्ञम् इतक्षितिष्ठ
कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धमूर्तिव यद्वत् त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभाजौ कृतौ च तदा प्रेमभक्तिं स्वकां मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे गृहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह Namaste.
Namaste. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, you
Please
can read.
continue. Okay. नमस्तेऽस्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोदराय तविश्वस्य दाम्ने नमो राधिकाय त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodara offer my humble obeisances.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in the pools of ecstasy and is revealing to the devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued and with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bal Gopal in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart, for what is the use of me of any other boon besides this?
O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair, tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me.
O Supreme God, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
O Lord Damodara, just as the two sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nalakuvara, were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby, tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own Prema Bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation. O Lord Samudra, first of all, offer my obeisances to the brilliant effulgent fruit which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes.
Ribol, Damodrastakam ki jai. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् नाम्नामकारि बहुधानि च सर्वशक्तिस्तत्र अर्पितानि अमिता स्मरणेन काला एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन्ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशमिह जानिनानुरागः
त्रिनादपि सुनिच्चेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरिः. न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवदाद्भक्तिरहेतुकी त्वयि.
ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपय तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय
नयनं गलादश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदारुधया गिरा पुलकैर्निजितं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति.
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रविर्ष्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
आश्रित्य वा पादरदां पिनष्टु मां दर्शनां मर्महतां करोतु वा यदा तदा वा विददातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनादस्तु स एव नापरः.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers, only one who causes devotional service birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my speech decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs on my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain, so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me, he is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Siksastakam ki jai. Bahujanma Karayadi Shravana Kirtan Tabutana Paya Krishna Pare Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense, to consider the name of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master or consider him as an ordinary person.
Fourth offense, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in presence of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination.
Sixth offense, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karmakant.
Ninth offense, to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
10th offense, to not have complete faith in the chanting of holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting.
Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Let us offer our humble, respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Pancha kalpatarupyascha kripa sindhupya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo
namaha.
namaha.
Ananda Kota Vaishnavinda ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. Jai Gaura Prem Nande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much for your suggestion again, Prabhu, for this nice reading session. Thank you, Dheeraj Prabhu, also for making the timestamps. I will start today putting them.
Thank you for giving me that service. I was hankering for that service. Yo,
Oh, Jai
and
Shila
you gave
Prabhupada.
me
Thank
one.
you so
Yeah,
much. It was
Jai
really
Shri
nice.
Prabhupada. Report.
Happy Ekadashi to everyone. Oh, and tomorrow is Sister Goshti, I think. So please, everyone, join if you can. Thank you, Prabhu. Jai Shila Prabhupada.